maybe from going back, is actually parents. They can be some of the most difficult and biggest obstruction for their own child progressing in any field.
Is that because they're overprotective?
Uh, Sometimes you get parents that make it about themselves. So something that they potentially either maybe wanted to do themselves or never had the opportunity to do, and then they try to live through their child. And then I spent most of my time telling parents off, like your job is solely to cheer your child on.
Yeah.
They should look over there and just see you cheering. When they come to you, if they're upset, you encourage them, cheer them on again, and all you keep telling them is to go and speak to your coach to find out, go and speak to your coach to find out what you need to do next.
They'll support you and push you in the right
Support you and then
direction.
push you back to the coach. But then you get parents on the side like, yeah, you should be doing this, you should be that. No, you should be doing, and it's like you haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
So you can't be the coach and the parent. It's very difficult, especially if you haven't actually gone through that journey. But a lot of these people, they try to take over, and it makes it actually more difficult for if you don't have a strong enough coach to be confident to go over and tell parents like just sit down and shut up, basically. Yeah, you could be a distraction to a lot of your kids.
Do you see, because UFC, like, and fighting in general looks like a sport that you're just by yourself in the ring. You say there's a whole support system, there's a family system behind it. Are there certain fighters who have certain attitudes as well, who don't want to play the team game, and it's like, I'm in this alone, don't need your help. Yeah, it's your job to come in and help spar me or something, and that's it. I don't want a relationship. Do you have fighters do that as well?
So I'm fortunate to be in a gym that the biggest ego in our gym is our coach. So anybody that's coming with a bad attitude, it quickly, very quickly gets dispelled. So um, I'm fortunate enough to say that I'm not part of a gym that has any, like, none of my teammates have that kind of attitude. And for those that like kind of showed a bit of that attitude, didn't last long. They left the gym. So um, I'm fortunate, but I have heard
Yeah.
stories, in other gyms and so on and so forth. But everyone's individual. Like whatever it is, whatever traumas that they've had that have got them, in this direction, is still gonna play a part. Um, and like I say, this is why coaches are so important to manage. And I find, weird enough, from my experience, the people that give off that energy or that aura tend to be the boxers I've come across. And I just find it's a very different game. And I think it's because there's so much money in that game. And a lot of the guys that bring you up to that level, your amateur coaches can't take you on as a pro. So you've got like almost like a father figure from your amateur days moving up to your professional. When you become professional, that father figure disappears. And now you hire people to then keep you going. And I find if you have a coach that is dependent on the finance that you're going to provide, they're not going to tell you, or they very rarely are going to tell you what you need to hear sometimes, especially the bigger you get in the game.
Yeah.
You get people that just end up with a lot of yes men around them. Now, one of the people that I'm most scared of is my coach. So, and he doesn't care about the money that I can make. He's good. He's set up, and he does it because he's passionate about it. Which means if it comes to a decision that I'm wanting to make, and it's my ego that's getting in the way, yeah, I want to make this decision. He's like, I'm not. We're not backing that. That's not happening. And he'll tell me the honest truth. And at the high level, that's what you need. So I find those type of fighters will eventually come undone at the top game if you don't have somebody around you that can, put you back on track.
Yeah, you need someone to keep you in check
100%.
because you
Yeah,
quickly think you're bigger than the coach,
yeah,
then
yeah.
the industry humbles you.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, it's again each to their own, and I'm sure people can make it in however, but I say 9 times out of 10, it has to be done with somebody that's got your back, and I can
100.
tell you exactly what you need to hear.
Nice. Mike, last time you came was last May 2023.
Hmm.
A lot's happened since then.
Yeah,
At that stage, you was transitioning from Bellator. Talk to us. What's been going on?
Yeah, like you said, lots happened. I'm trying to think where to start. Ask me. I'm terrible with all that kind of stuff, so I'm trying to think.
So the fights between then and now and the likes are literally last 12 to 14 months.
Yeah, so my
I
bare knuckle would be involved in that now.
Mike Perry.
Yeah, so the bare knuckle's involved in that.
What made that one happen?
So weird enough, I had a fight that unfortunately I lost. It was a tough fight
Very tough.
stylistically. But I'm talking about the fight before the bare knuckle fight.
Right. Okay.
So
Who was that
stylistically,
against?
it was Storley, yeah, who's a wrestler. So it was it was for the interim belt, and it would have allowed me to then fight for the person who had the belt at the time, which was Amasov, exceptional fighter. Um, and again, it was just a bit of a bore in the sense that he came in, and I find it a lot with my style and the way, the attributes that I have. People sometimes come in to survive the fight, not win the fight.
Yeah.
Obviously, with that, with doing that, they can win the fight in terms of like the judges will award them the decision, but they didn't come in here to actually beat me up. And I feel like if you're in a combat sport, the main aim of the game, obviously, if you get two talented fighters and it goes the distance because they're talented but they're both trying to go at each other, but it goes distance, that's where the judges should come in. But you shouldn't go in there saying I'm going to make it a judge decision, if you know what I mean. And I find a lot of people, because of my style, get so worried that they even the way they grab me on the ground is like they don't want to let go. They don't want to do anything. Like even one thing I found about like the likes of like Khabib, exceptional ground game, and everyone loved him for it, but he would take you down and then try to inflict damage and try to stop you and try to submit you, try to hit you. Like he was like, I'm trying to beat you up, which is part of the game. Whereas then you got these guys that I'm coming across where they'll hold you and it's just like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to waste time. I'm just looking at the clock because I just don't want you to do anything to me. And I found like I had that fight, and even the owner himself at the time, Scott Coker, he very rarely is opinionated on fights. He came out, I was like, yeah, I don't think, Storley should have won that. He didn't do anything and so on and so forth. But then straight after that fight, because nothing had happened to me, I'm fresh, like still ready to go. I'm like, yeah, I want to get back in. Like I'm eager to get back in. And they were like, oh, we don't actually have another fight for you until I'm sure it was like the end of the year or the beginning of next year because of all the slots and nonsense. But I was just like, I'm not waiting that long.
You want to stay active.
I want to stay active, and I'm again after going through such a hard camp to not really not feel like you've got any of that energy out. I was like, nah, I'm not waiting that long. Like, because they've allowed me to box before. So I've said to them, like, I'm going to try and get a boxing fight. And they're like, yeah, no, fine. Just let us know.
This is
let us know when. This is Bellator.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, about a week later, my coach was like, oh, random one, up to you if you want to do it. David Hay is doing some work with BKFC. And David Hay's good friends with like the team, us, actually boxed with him first. And he's like, oh, he mentioned your name and everyone was excited and they were like, oh, they would love you to fight. Would you, if if you want to take it? And I was like, if that means I can keep active, then let's go.
Yeah.
They put forward Mike Perry's name. I was like, that's a great name, great personality.
Yeah.
Like to just kind of for the build up as well. Went back to Bellator, told them about it, and they were like, cool, no problem. Obviously, again, it's hard for them to say no at that point because they don't have a fight available for me at the time. And they were just like, yeah, cool, no problem. It's a good time. So that's when I ended up doing the bare knuckle.
Yeah. Have you done one of them before?
No, never. It's weird. When I was younger, a lot of my senior kickboxers and stuff that they would have done bare knuckle. It was quite popular back then, like but underground. It was never public. It hasn't been public for ages. That was actually one of the first shows in like something ridiculous. Someone said like 100 years or something.
Wow.
That was a public bare knuckle event in the UK. So it was it's just another thing to be a part of, like of history, to bring that back to the UK after so long.
How much was that different to what you was existingly doing?